Hello everyone, today I'm going to be reading A Lesson from History, a tale from Ghostly Tales for Ghastly Kids. It was history. Eliza hated history. She had never known much, and now it was time for her to sit an exam she knew even less. Who was shot in the eye? In the eye with an arrow, said her best friend Rachel as they went inside the exam hall. I don't know, said Eliza anxiously. Are you sure this is history? Yes, it was held, said Rachel. Harold who? Said Eliza. Harold the King. Never heard of him, sulked Eliza. It's a stupid name for a king anyway. Don't you know anything? Laughed Rachel. Not much, said Eliza. I know when I was born. That doesn't count. I wish it did, said Eliza. But she had only herself to blame. Eliza had not done a stroke of work in the last year. She had been far too busy hanging around coffee shops and eating large chocolate eclairs. Spend any time swatting up on history. Unfortunately, exams have an unpleasant knack of finding such things out. Miss Peninda Byrne, the French teacher who was invigilating the exam, appeared from inside the hall. We're ready for you now, girls, she said. Eliza cringed. She was going to get an F-. She knew it. They filed into the classroom like a pack of frightened lemmings, rushing rashly towards a cliff. Heads down, palms sweaty, lucky mascots clutched fervently to their breasts. Inappropriate chest area that I can't say on YouTube. I've never seen it living on the edge of a cliff, clutching a lucky mascot on it to its inappropriate area, woman's chest, and I can't say on YouTube. But Everett, on good authority that the majority of them do. Goats with green hair are particularly favorite, I believe. If fear could be bought and sold for lots of money in the shops, then the place would stop bothering. It would surely have been the school hall where Eliza and Rachel were about to sit in the history exam. You have exactly 3 hours to complete your paper, declared Miss Peninda Byrne. When they had found their seats and laid out their pens and pencils and written them in lines, you may look at the questions, Maintenant. There was a flurry of activity as 150 pieces of paper were turned at the same time. Then there was 1 minute of complete silence while 150 pairs of eyes scanned the questions. Then there was another frantic emotion as 149 girls unscrewed their pen tops and started running. The 150 of girls looked at the others and Hippita looked. Crikey, she thought, I wish I'd done a bit more homework. Eliza could not answer one of the 14 questions. In such circumstances, one must remain calm. Eliza read the question for a second time and sat back to think deeply. Then she sat forward and leant on her elbows. She gazed at the ceiling. Sitting out of the window and at everyone scribbling madly. Then back at the exam papers. Then she had an idea. She read the questions again, just in case they rapidly changed since she had last looked. They hadn't. Of course they hadn't. They looked just as impossible now as they had swapped it from her right hand to her left. No difference! She put it in her mouth and waited for inspiration, but sadly it didn't come. So she put the nib in her mouth and covered her lips with blue ink. She hadn't meant to do that. That was stupid. So it gave her something to do for the next 10 minutes as she tried to rub the ink off her tongue. Rachel, who seemed to be writing faster than everyone else, looked up from her paper and gave Eliza the thumbs up. Eliza had never before hated anyone quite as much as she hated Rachel at that moment. Smug friends who were near the answers were no friends of Eliza's. We were just swats, teachers' pets, who deserved to have their knickers up on run up the flagpole in front of their whole school. Eliza, said a voice, certainly, and whipped her legs up the desk. Yes, ma'am, sir, he said, but Mr. Boom was at the other end of the hall, walking in the other direction. Eliza, said the voice again. What? replied Eliza in a loud whisper. Over here. Eliza turned where the voice had come from. The fire exit's door stood ajar, and poking her head through the gap was a little girl with black hair and freckles. She was wearing a brown pinafore dress, black woolen stockings, and a pair of lace-up boots. I'm Penny, said the girl with freckles. I'm Eliza. What are you doing? Said the newcomer. History, said Eliza. Yuck, said Penny. Do you want any help? Miss Penine de Burm's voice boomed out from another hall. Eliza, quick, hide, said Eliza, pushing Penny underneath the desk. If Mr. Boom finds you, I shall send you to the sin bin. Stop talking, shouted the French teacher. Relax, said Penny. She can't see me. This is no time for jokes, whispered Eliza, who was now in a panic. Mr. Boom was still the right course. No, she gone. Honest, laughed Penny. As she got up from the floor, waved her arms in the air, and sang a bit from Fredericks about soggy semolina. Mr. Boom was now only a feet away. Eliza buried her head in her work and pretended that Penny wasn't there. Any more talking and I'll send you to the headmistress, you naughty girl, said Mr. Boom, glaring down at Eliza. Penny had crept up behind the teacher's back and was putting faces. Eliza was. What are you looking at? Said Mr. Boom, turning around sharply. She was staring straight at Penny now. Penny lifted her skirt and showed the teacher her belly button. Nothing, said Eliza weakly. Good, said Mr. Boom, flouncing down the aisle. Then get on with your work. When Eliza opened her eyes, Penny was sitting next to her. She was grinning mischievously from ear to ear. She didn't see you, exclaimed Eliza. I told you she wouldn't, said Penny. But why? Because I come from another world, said Penny. Eliza was not sure what this meant. You mean you came from another school? No, dunderhead, I'm a ghost, said Penny. You could have knocked it down with a feather. How long you have been dead? She said. About 100 years. Did you? I used to be a pupil at the school, you know, until it burnt down. I didn't know the school had burnt down! Oh yes, about 100 years ago, during exam week. Do you mean, Eliza couldn't quite say, do you mean that you, as it were, actually died in the fire during the history exam, said Penny. Eliza pricked up her ears. Penny carried on. So every year during the exam lesson, I have to come back here and do a bit of haunting. How awful for you. I don't know, said Penny. It could be worse. How? Eliza asked. It could be geography, said the ghost. I'm useless at geography. She paused to think. I'm pretty good at history, though. Well, you would be, said Eliza, who was getting quite excited as her cheese sort of took shape in her mind. How many times have you said this history exam? 100, of course, said Penny. Do you want me to help you? Not off, shouted Eliza. Miss Penine de Boom looked round. But we better do it quickly. Eliza stepped back and let Penny answer her history homework for her. Penny went fast and with great assurance, with half an hour to spare, she handed the paper back to Eliza and announced that she had finished. You're brilliant, squealed Eliza. I'm exhausted, said Penny. See you next year. Daisy stood up and disappeared back for the higher exit when she had come. A week later, the exam results were pinned to the notice board. Eliza was burning to know how she had done. If Penny had set the exam 100 times before, it was a cast-iron certainty that Eliza was going to come top. A crowd had gathered in front of the results board. Eliza shoved her way to the front and cast her eyes up to the top of the list. First place, Rachel Smith, 98%, it said. So she hadn't come first. Eliza was new. In second place, Tanya Wilkins. She wasn't second either. In fact, she wasn't third, fourth, fifth, or even sixth. Right at the bottom. In last place. She read the impossible. 32nd place. Eliza McGregor, 0%. Eliza was stunned. She hadn't crossed her mind that Penny's ghost might be just as lazy and stupid as she was. Unfortunately, though, it was. And that's the end. Like, subscribe, click bell. Bye-bye.